Time is an illusion. Information is not knowledge. I love to travel, but I hate to arrive. You never fail until you stop trying. Creativity is intelligence having fun. Once you stop learning, you start dying. Anger dwells only in the bosom of fools. Nothing happens until something moves. Truth is what stands the test of experience. You can't blame gravity for falling in love. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. Black holes are where God divided by zero. Imagination is the highest form of research. The only source of knowledge is experience. Any fool can know. The point is to understand. Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. Once we accept our limits, we go beyond them. A true genius admits that she knows nothing. I never think of the future. It comes soon enough. Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. Weakness of attitude becomes weakness of character. I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious. Gravitation is not responsible for people falling in love. A human being is part of a whole called by us universe. The search for truth is more precious than its possession. A clever person solves a problem. A wise person avoids it. Pure mathematics is in its way the poetry of logical ideas. Memory is deceptive because it is colored by today's events. The best way to cheer yourself is to cheer somebody else up. The secret to creativity is knowing how to hide your sources. All religions, arts, and sciences are branches of the same tree. Sometimes one pays most for the things one gets for nothing. The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious id rather be an optimist and a fool than a pessimist. And right, a ship is always safe at shore, but that is not what it's built for. Unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. Only those who attempt the absurd can achieve the impossible. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. The only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. It's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. The moon does not simply disappear when we are not looking at it. A man should look for what is, and not for what he thinks should be. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Logic will get you from A to Z. Imagination will get you everywhere. Look deep into nature, and then you will understand everything better. Weak people revenge, strong people forgive. Intelligent people ignore the monotony and solitude of a quiet life, stimulates the creative mind. Imagination is everything it is, the preview of life's coming attractions. Common sense is the collection of prejudices acquired by age 18. If you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. The difference between genius and stupidity is that genius has its limits. Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Few are those who see with their own eyes and feel with their own hearts. The only way to escape the corruptible effect of praise is to go on working. A question that sometimes drives me hazy. Am I, or are the others crazy? What is right is not always popular, and what is popular is not always right. I would teach peace rather than war. I would inculcate love rather than hate. Human beings must have action, and they will make it if they cannot find it. Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. Wisdom is not a product of schooling, but of the lifelong attempt to acquire it. A happy man is too satisfied with the present to dwell too much on the future. The most incomprehensible thing about the world is that it is comprehensible. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Education is not the learning of facts, it's rather the training of the mind to think. You ask me if I keep a notebook to record my great ideas. I've only ever had one. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. Small is the number of people who see with their eyes and think with their minds. Without deep reflection, one knows from daily life that one exists for other people doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity. A table, a chair, a bowl of fruit, and a violin. What else does a man need to be happy? We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. The value of a man should be seen in what he gives and not in what he is able to receive. The great moral teachers of humanity were, in a way, artistic geniuses in the art of living. Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. I am thankful for all of those who said no to me. It's because of them I'm doing it myself. In order to form an immaculate member of a flock of sheep, one must above all be a sheep. A human being is a part of the whole called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters. Two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not sure about the universe. Any man who reads too much and uses his own brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. I believe in intuitions and inspirations. I sometimes feel that I am right. I do not know that I am. No amount of experimentation can ever prove me right. A single experiment can prove me wrong. I very rarely think in words at all. A thought comes and I may try to express it in words afterwards. He who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe is as good as dead. His eyes are closed. I speak to everyone in the same way, whether he is the garbage man or the president of the university. When you trip over love, it is easy to get up. But when you fall in love, it is impossible to stand again. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Invention is not the product of logical thought, even though the final product is tied to a logical structure. There comes a time when the mind takes a higher plane of knowledge but can never prove how it got there. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Invention is not the product of logical thought, even though the final product is tied to a logical structure. There comes a time when the mind takes a higher plane of knowledge but can never prove how it got there. The pursuit of truth and beauty is a sphere of activity in which we are permitted to remain children all our lives. I think and think for months and years. 99 times the conclusion is false. The 100th time I am right. The world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. The world is not dangerous because of those who do harm, but because of those who look at it without doing anything. Never give up on what you really want to do. The person with big dreams is more powerful than the one with all the facts. 3 rules of work. Out of clutter find simplicity. From discord find harmony. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. There are only 2 ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle, everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. A dictatorship means muzzles all round and consequently stultification. Science can flourish only in an atmosphere of free speech. If you want your children to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. If you want them to be more intelligent, read them more fairy tales. It is, in fact, nothing short of a miracle that the modern methods of instruction have not yet entirely strangled the holy curiosity of inquiry. If I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician. I often think in music. I live my daydreams in music. I see my life in terms of music. When you are courting a nice girl, an hour seems like a second. When you sit on a red-hot cinder, a second seems like an hour. That's relativity. The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion that stands at the cradle of true art and true science. Any intelligent fool can make things bigger and more complex. It takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction. Only one who devotes himself to a cause with his whole strength and soul can be a true master. For this reason, mastery demands all of a person to raise new questions, new possibilities. To regard old problems from a new angle require creative imagination and marks real advance in science. I believe in standardizing automobiles. I do not believe in standardizing human beings. Standardization is a great peril which threatens American culture. Concern for man and his fate must always form the chief interest of all technical endeavors. Never forget this in the midst of your diagrams and equations. Nothing truly valuable arises from ambition or from a mere sense of duty. It stems rather from love and devotion towards men and towards objective things. When you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, you think it's only a minute. But when you sit on a hot stove for a minute, you think it's 2 hours. That's relativity. Imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. As a human being, one has been endowed with just enough intelligence to be able to see clearly how utterly inadequate that intelligence is when confronted with what exists. As a human being, one has been endowed with just enough intelligence to be able to see clearly how utterly inadequate that intelligence is when confronted with what exists. I am, by heritage, a Jew, by citizenship, a Swiss, and by makeup, a human being, and only a human being, without any special attachment to any state or national entity whatsoever. Few people are capable of expressing with equanimity opinions which differ from the prejudices of their social environment. Most people are even incapable of forming such opinions. Although I am a typical loner in daily life, my consciousness of belonging to the invisible community of those who strive for truth, beauty, and justice has preserved me from feeling isolated. Hail to the man who went through life always helping others, knowing no fear, and to whom aggressiveness and resentment are alien. Such is the stuff of which the great moral leaders are made. The years of anxious searching in the dark with their intense longing, their alternations of confidence and exhaustion, and final emergence into light. Only those who have experienced it can understand that. Most teachers waste their time by asking questions that are intended to discover what a pupil does not know, whereas the true art of questioning is to discover what the pupil does know or is capable of knowing. 100 times every day, I remind myself that my inner and outer life are based on the labors of other men, living and dead, and that I must exert myself in order to give in the same measure as I have received and am still receiving. A man's ethical behavior should be based effectually on sympathy, education, and social ties and needs. No religious basis is necessary. Man would indeed be in a poor way if he had to be restrained by fear of punishment and hope of reward after death. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. The mediocre mind is incapable of understanding the man who refuses to bow blindly to conventional prejudices and chooses instead to express his opinions courageously and honestly. When it comes to prominent names of men and women of science from the 20th century, there is arguably no moniker more ubiquitous than Albert Einstein. Born in Germany in 1879, Einstein spent his life truly making a mark in the scientific community, including developing the general theory of relativity and winning the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921, before passing away in 1955. Einstein's research, as well as his signature hairstyle, has sparked plenty of conversations throughout the years. While his remarkable scientific and mathematical contributions to the world are well known and part of classroom curriculum, the creative and oftentimes humorous way he spoke about life and the substantial advice he gave to others has also been a significant part of his legacy.